Hi everybody, welcome back to Marie's Kitchen. I'm so glad you're here. Today we are making a chocolate zucchini bread that tastes so indulgent, but is actually pretty good for you. It's a family favorite that we've been making for years and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's get started. First up, we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and I always do recommend an oven thermometer. If you don't have one, I can put a link below in the description box. It's just a really easy way to make sure that your oven is properly calibrated. And if you're having problems like consistently burning food or consistently having underdone, things are taking longer to cook, get an oven thermometer and that'll help you determine if your oven is the problem. Now moving on to the ingredients. We're going to start with 1 cup flour, or if you prefer, you can make this gluten-free and use a 1/2 cup gluten-free flour and a 1/2 cup oat flour. Or you could use a whole cup gluten-free flour. So lots of ways. It's a 1-for-1 substitution across all of those. I had a lot of people comment on some of my videos where I offer gluten-free options saying that oat flour is not gluten-free. And I guess it depends on the one you buy. This oat flour is gluten-free, and I know Bob's Red Mill is and some other brands, so just if that's a concern for you, just look for one that is. Next, we'll add 1/2 cup cocoa powder. Then 1 teaspoon baking powder and 1 teaspoon baking soda. I have all these measured out today because I wanted to weigh them all. We have all these new friends from across the pond, so I'm trying to weigh everything so I can provide metric. So hopefully that's helpful. That'll be both in the recipe and then along the bottom of the video as it goes along. And all of these recipes are on my website, mariesaba.com. You can pop over there. There's no ads, there's no pop-ups, nothing like that. It's just a really simple website, and it has the recipes and then a print button where you can print them. And so my goal is to make it super easy and sort of calming because, you know, much of the internet isn't. So that was my goal with my website. All right, this looks good. Almost forgot, we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt. And we can go ahead and throw our brown sugar in there, and you can use, this is 3/4 cup, you can use brown sugar, or you can use a brown sugar substitute like this. I cut the top off because it's easier to store, but it's a stevia brown sugar substitute, which actually works really well, 1-for-1 substitution in baking. So 3/4 cup, and we'll just kind of mash that in there. I often do this in my KitchenAid stand mixer, and it goes just really, really quickly and easily. So I do recommend that if you have one, but I wanted to make sure to do it by hand in case some people don't. You can do it by hand just as easily. Okay, now we'll set this aside and work on our zucchini. For the zucchini, you have a couple options. We just need it coarsely grated, and it's just 1 zucchini. So we'll just trim the top off and the bottom. And then if you like, you can use a hand grater, which I prefer relative to the box grater. It's a lot easier to store. You can just slide it in the drawer. And I find it really easy to use as well. So you would just grate your zucchini like this. At the end there, you really got to watch your fingers and your fingernails because those little blades are pretty sharp. So just stop, even if you have a little bit left. Just save your fingers, trust me. All right, so there is 1 zucchini grated. You can also use your food processor if you have one. You can just slice them in half like this down the middle. And then we have our food processor here. And I will put a link to this one below. It's a Cuisinart, and I do use it a lot for grating things like zucchini. I have this little attachment on it, and then you just put the grating attachment on it like that. Pop the lid on, take out the plunger piece, and then we'll just turn this on to high and drop in the zucchini. If you have some extra zucchini that you want to freeze, it's wonderful to freeze it already grated because then later if you want to then make this bread, you can just pop out a bag and you have it already grated. And really that's the hardest part of this bread is grating the zucchini. So if you have that done, yay. And just pop this into a freezer bag. There we go. Oh, and I should mention, when you're at the grocery store looking for zucchini, avoid the really, really big ones. Those can be more pulpy, they have bigger seeds, they go bad faster, and they're not as sweet. So always look for a medium to small size zucchini when you're at the grocery store. Now, we have our zucchini here in the freezer bag. We'll just press this down and then squeeze as much air out as you can. Then I would just label this with, 1 grated zucchini and the date. Then you can pop that in the freezer and use it as needed. All right, next step, instead of using a lot of extra oil or sugar in this recipe, we're gonna use 2 bananas. And I'm just gonna mash them with a fork here. Next step, we'll add 1 egg. And the next is 1/2 cup of a neutral oil. And I'm using light olive oil. It's one I use sometimes if I'm frying or I'm baking if I need a neutral oil. You can also use refined coconut oil melted. That works great in here, or avocado oil would work. Or if you use canola or another vegetable oil, you're welcome to use that. Just something neutral with not a lot of flavor. So in other words, I wouldn't use extra virgin olive oil in this. It's got a little bit too much flavor. And we'll just whisk this together. Next, we'll add our grated zucchini. I should use a spatula. It's kind of a loud sound. And we can mix this up together. So easy. Now it's time to combine the wet and the dry together. And then stir this just until combined. It's such a rich, thick, chocolatey dough. Really, it tastes like cake. You're not gonna believe it. I can't wait for you to try it. Next, we're gonna add our chocolate chips. 3/4 cup of those. So just to combine, this looks great. That dough. And all the banana and the zucchini keeps it so moist. To bake the zucchini bread, I'm gonna use these little mini loaf pans. They're about 6 or 7 by 3, and I'll put a link to them in the description box if you want to check them out. They're so handy. What I love about them is, first of all, you don't have to grease them. They have a nice parchment inside and you don't have to grease it. In addition, they're just so easy. You can keep 2 and share 1, or you can keep 1 out and freeze 2. So they're just very convenient, very giftable. Now we'll just divide the batter into 3 here, approximately. Chocolate smells so good. So the batter is pretty thick. We're just spreading it out here. All right, and the final step, this is optional, but I like to get these little mini baking chips. And these are great to decorate the top with. So you can just put a little in your hand and sprinkle those right on top. Now these will go in the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes, or until a toothpick in the center comes out clean. All right, the timer just went off, so we're gonna grab our zucchini bread out of the oven. And if you happen to want a pair of these oven mitts, I'll put a link in the description box below. They're so fun and I get so many compliments on them. These look so good and they smell incredible. I can't wait for you to try these. I'm gonna let these cool just a little bit before I cut myself a slice. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. It means so much to me and also to YouTube. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. I've got lots more videos coming up with easy recipes just like this, and I don't want you to miss any of them. For this recipe and more, head over to my website, mariesaba.com. There you can go and print out this recipe and all my recipes, put them in a notebook, and make your very own Marie's Kitchen cookbook for free. My goal is to give you some really easy recipes that turn out great every time, so you can build some confidence in the kitchen and feel really inspired to share good food with people that you love. From my kitchen to yours, thank you. Okay, now we're gonna try one of these. It's not too hot. So soft and chocolatey. Ooh, still really hot. It's so indulgent, so chocolatey. I guess this will just be my loaf because I'm eating out of it. Need a cold glass of milk to go with that. It's so chocolatey and so delicious. Let me know if you get to try it. We'll see you next time.